Good morning everyone. Welcome to today's session. Okay, so in this session we will do all the important circulars, and I've collated all the circulars happening that have released from previous months, okay, and the most important questions from that circulars for NABARD. Okay, so let's wait for 1 or 2 minutes, let others also come, then we will start this session. Okay, and there are 50 MCQs. All of these MCQs are covering RBI circulars, SEBI circulars, as well as NABARD circulars, even IRDA news that have been important from the perspective of examination I've included here. Okay, so we'll do 50 questions, and that's, I guess, more than sufficient for NABARD exam. Okay, so you can also revise this session just before the exam also. Good morning, Sai. Is this screen clearly visible to you and my voice is clearly audible now? Okay. So let's start with our first question. And see, most of the questions will be similar to what we have discussed in our ESI Finance circular news. Okay, so I hope and I expect all of you who are regular viewers of ESI Finance circular news must do these questions. Okay, so the first question, already discussed in various of our circular news. Recently SEBI said that shorter T+3 timeline for IPO would become mandatory from what date? These are the options. Try to guess the answer. So this news, as I've already told you, that this was being talked about, that T+6 days was the previous settlement cycle with respect to IPO, but now it has been changed from T+6 to T+3. Okay, that means within 3 working days the IPO shall be listed on the stock exchange. So this will become effective. Now the choice with respect to reduction in timeline, although is with the company itself, but from the formal sense, this will be applicable from which date? All of you try to do this question. At least in this class, attempt all the questions and see the accuracy of your answers. Apart from saying what all of you thinks, all of you try to give. Yes. Akash says December 1st. Sai says C, October 1st. Akash is correct. December 1st is the correct answer. Okay. So from December 1st, this timeline will be applicable. Let's move on to the next question. This is as per RBI Bulletin, August 23. So this is with respect to corporate capital expenditure. Okay. So they are asking about total capex plan of the private corporate sector recorded an increase of what percentage over the preceding year? And this is with respect to Q1 of 23. So in this quarter, how much capital expenditure that we saw? What do you think is the correct answer? So I say 7.7 D. Okay. What about others? If you are skipping the question, at least write skip the questions. Soumya says 6.7. Okay. But let's participate over here so that we remember all these questions. Okay. So Soumya is correct. 6.7 is the correct answer. Okay, so it's a factual detail. So in this quarter, up till now, capital expenditure plan of corporate sector. Again, I'm saying it's not about the government, it's about the private corporate sector. So capital expenditure of this sector recorded an increase of 6.7% over preceding year. Okay, next, in this question, try to think logically. You will find the answer. Which sector continues to attract maximum capital expenditure from the private corporate? Manufacturing, infrastructure, services, agri-allied, or financial services? What do you think is the correct answer? Think logically, you will come up with the question. Sai says C, Vandana says A, and yes. Okay, so as you all know, how much focus that government is doing on infrastructure sector. So naturally, it still is the topmost leading source of this capital expenditure. Okay, so infrastructure is the correct answer. Even the government as well as the private sector is working on this. And if you look at the solution within infrastructure, road infrastructure leads the way. Okay, so that means the maximum capital expenditure happening in this infrastructure sector is on the roads. As you can see, the solution aspect. See here. So they recorded an increase of 6.7%, and infrastructure sector continues to attract maximum capital expenditure led by roads and bridges. So private sector is also involved in infrastructure development, especially in the roads and bridges segment. Okay. Now let's move on to the next question. Also try to calculate your marks so that at least in the end we try to see how much maximum a person are capable of getting in this session. Okay. Next is, recently RBI launched a centralized web platform to enable members of public to search for their unclaimed deposits. What is the name of the platform? This is again very important news. It is coming again and again. The concept of unclaimed deposits, RBI has been focusing upon providing these unclaimed deposits back to the rightful owners. So Naveen says Udgam, everybody says C, yes. So I hope, very good. So this is, Udgam is the correct answer. And apart from Udgam, there was one campaign done by Reserve Bank of India with respect to unclaimed deposit. Does anyone know about the fact? What was that campaign? Yes, all of you are correct. 100 days, 100 pays. Next is, this is the recent circular with respect to infrastructure debt fund NBFCs. Okay, so this is a particular kind of NBFCs on the, and various details with respect to how this NBFC will function. RBI has recently released a circular on that. Okay, and we will be having questions with respect to that. So such NBFCs have to maintain a net owned fund of at least what crores? All of you are well prepared. Very good. So Naveen says 300. Sai says 500. Correct answer is 300 crores. Okay. So they have to maintain net owned fund of 300 crores in order to function as a infrastructure debt fund NBFC. Okay. Now the same NBFC, what is the capital risk weighted asset ratio requirement? How much they have to maintain? What is the CRAR maintain? CRAR requirements. Naveen says 15. Sai says C. What about others? Anudeep says C. Soumya also says C. So I guess we are in agreement that the correct answer is C only. Okay. Let's move on to the next. what is the minimum, and since IDF NBFC, if you think about in terms of what does it do, it provide loans to infrastructure sector, but how does it get funds? So it get funds through bonds. So these companies issue bonds, and the question is also about these bonds. So what's the minimum maturity period of a rupee or dollar denominated bond an IDFC NBFC must issue to raise funds? What do you think is the correct answer? Akash skipped this question. Sai says D. Okay. Oh, D, 10 years. What about others? Others also skipping this question. Okay. So we are asking about minimum. Don't think in terms of maximum. What do you think can be a minimum bond? No, usually for an infrastructure period, what do you think? Think in terms of how much time does a normal infrastructure project takes, and then think about it. And also think about whenever a government also makes a plan, so what's the duration of a particular plan, and within that particular plan they think about various different infrastructure. So if you think in terms of that, at least some probability may be there that we might get the correct answer. So all of you are correct. The answer is 5 years. So this is the minimum maturity period. That minimum at least 5 years will take, but after that obviously the tenure of the bonds can be highly increased. Okay. Next is, what's the exposure limit with respect to tier 1 capital an IDFC has for single borrower party? So I'll just explain this question to you. It's just telling RBI is telling these type of NBFCs that whatever amount of loan that you are providing to the people, some amount, for a single party, maximum loan that you can give is what percentage of your total loan portfolio? This is the question. Now tell me what's the correct answer according to you. And I'm telling about single borrower. Okay, not a single corporate group. Single borrower. Because in the circular there are two exposure limits. One about single borrower and one about single corporate group. Okay, now tell me what's the correct answer. Akash says 50%, Soumya says 10, Sai says 20%. So if you don't know, because you should skip this question because these are a little bit technical. If you know, fine, but the correct answer is C. Okay, 30% is the correct answer, and I'll show you the solution also so that you know what are the details we are talking about here. So this is as you can see, exposure limits for a tier 1 capital for a single borrower is 30%. Okay, but 50% of the tier 1 capital is the exposure limit for a single group of borrowers or parties. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. The IRDAI has decided to reduce the minimum capital requirement for foreign reinsurance business to what? This is a very common news. I hope everybody should do this. Very easy news. Again and again it has been in the news. Naveen says 50. Soumya says A, yes. Correct. All of you are correct. 50 crores is the answer. Okay. Can you tell what was the previous capital requirement before it has been shifted? Yes, Soumya is correct. It was 100 crores previously. Next is, as per IRDA, based on that same circular, how many categories are there to classify reinsurers in the new regulatory structure? How many categories are there in which all the reinsurers are actually classified? Anyone? Naveen skipping. Soumya is also skipping. What about others? Akash says 4. Okay. Sai says 2. Akash is correct. The answer is 4. Into 4 categories, these reinsurers have been divided into. So let's look at these categories also. So these are 4 categories. So under category 1, Indian reinsurer will be there, in which GIC Re will be there. In category 2, International Financial Services Center Insurance offices will be there. Okay. In category 3, other international insurance offices will be there. And in category 4, Indian insurance company will be there. Okay, that are providing these reinsurance services. So just remember, you don't have to remember too much deep, but just remember that there are 4 categories. Okay. Next is another question, and before you read all this major question, this is about that because of the Adani issue, SEBI released a strict FPI disclosure norms. And this question is related to that only, and we've already discussed this question. So tell me the correct answer. What's the, whenever we are asking about disclosure norms, there's a particular threshold. If a company crosses that threshold, they have to disclose the actual funding, where this is coming from. Soumya says C. Okay. Others also should try. We've covered this session in one of the circular news. Yes. Soumya says what? C. Okay. Naveen is skipping. What about others? 12 members are there. All of you should try. Yes, C is the correct answer. So, if any fund hold more than 50% of their equity investment in a single Indian corporate group, they are saying, okay, or rupees more than 25,000 crore of equity assets in the Indian market, have to provide detailed information. So very good. All of those who have. Next is, according to SEBI, these strict FPI disclosure norms will come into effect from what date? So Soumya says November 1. What about others? All of you are correct. November 1 is the correct answer. Well done. Next is current framework of IFSCA. So I hope you remember about the circular where we discussed about special purpose acquisition companies as well as holding company. I hope all of you remember that. In that particular circular, this was being talked about. So, to be eligible to list on IFSC exchanges, an issuing company should have operating revenue of at least what amount in the preceding financial year? Soumya says 20. Sai says A, rest all skipping. Soumya is correct. 20 million is the correct answer. Good. Next is SEBI plans to usher in era of 1 hour trade settlement, as we also discussed in our circular. So what is the current trade settlement cycle in the stock market? Think I am talking about stock market and also particularly secondary market. I am not talking about IPO cycle. Now tell me the correct answer. Yes. Okay. And I have also told you that they are focusing upon hourly trade, hour trade settlement. So that's why, yes, the correct answer is T+1. Okay. Previously it was T+3. And now, previously it was T+2, I guess. And then it was shifted to T+1. And then SEBI is thinking about, in 1 hour settlement. Next is RBI has revised investment norms for commercial banks. I hope everybody remembers this circular. I have explained this circular 2 times and I hope everybody should do this. So as per this, into how many categories a bank must classify their investment portfolio? Yes. Soumya says 3. What about others? Others also should try. Yes, 3 is the correct answer. Okay. Can anybody tell me what were these 3 categories? Because if you can tell me this, next question becomes redundant. Yes. So let's go to the next question. Which one of the following is the subcategory under revised investment norms for commercial banks? So tell me, amongst all these, which has become a subcategory? That means a particular category under major categories. Sai says A. Yes, what about others? Akash also says held to maturity. Karthik also says A. Okay. Everybody is correct. Held for trading. Held for trading is the correct answer. Okay. And this has been subcategorized under FPTPL. Now tell me what's the full form of FPTPL? Soumya says B. Face value through profit and loss. Okay. Soumya. Yes, C. Yes, C. नहीं through तो correct है. Okay, it's fair value, not face value. Okay. Yes, all of you are correct. It's fair value through profit and loss. Well done. Next is RBI has also said banks should create an investment fluctuation reserve. Okay. Until the amount of IFR is at least what percentage of AFS and FPTPL portfolio? Yes, Akash, it was fair value. Okay. Now tell me, what's the minimum amount of investment fluctuation reserve that every commercial bank has to maintain? Soumya says 2%, Sai says 3, Akash says B. What about others? Are you skipping this question? Are you trying to attempt? Naveen also says B. Yes, B is the correct answer. 2% fluctuation reserve has to be maintained. And this is, again I'm saying, although you know the 2%, but 2% of what? Available for sale as well as FVTPL portfolio should be maintained, and this is maintained on a continuing basis. That means daily at least 2% of this reserve should be kept by you. Okay. Next, recently RBI mandated that in cases, again we've already discussed this, in cases where delays are attributable to regulated entities and extended, hold on, we are doing correct, extended beyond 30 days, they will be required to compensate borrowers at a rate of rupees what per day. Again, I'm telling you, this is with respect to a circular where banks are not providing documents back to the customers even after they have repaid the loans. Yes, all of you are correct. 5,000 is the correct answer. Very good. Next is, how many NBFCs have been announced by Reserve Bank of India to be put under upper layer? Soumya says 15. Sai says 15. Yes, 15 is the correct answer. All of you are correct. So under scale-based regulation, the middle layer comprises all deposit taking as well as non-deposit taking NBFCs with assets exceeding how much crores? Yes, no dispute in that. 1,000 crores is the correct answer. So how many layers are there under scale-based regulation? How many categories in which NBFCs have been distributed? Yes, 4 layers are there. So what are the names of these 4 layers? Base layer. What about others? Yes, base, middle, upper and top. Okay. So remember these static aspects of these things also. Okay. Next is Financial Inclusion Index of RBI. It's my bad only. I haven't. So chalo, we will skip this question. 60.1 is the correct answer. Okay. So in this year, 60.1 is the amount or is the value of Financial Inclusion Index is there. Okay. Next is Financial Inclusion Index was launched by RBI in which year? Cheating हो गया. Cheating हो गया. I also felt that. चलो ये बताओ. What's the launch year of Financial Inclusion Index? Sai says A. Akash also says A. RD says 21. Yes. RD is correct. 21. So let's see the solution also. So after this next question, we will see the solution. Tell me what is the as you all know, there are 3 metrics: access, usage, quality. What is the percentage weightage of usage parameter? Yes, okay, very good. 45% is the correct answer. Now let's see the solution. So, financial inclusion index introduced in 21 to find out the extent of financial inclusion. Okay, and three broad parameters: access, usage, and quality. 35% for access, 45% for usage, and 20% for quality. Remember this, very important. Financial inclusion, as you all know, is also very much important for rural development, and rural development is the key feature of NABARD. So I cannot exaggerate the importance of this much. So recently IFSCA mandated all fund management entities to seek authorization from it to launch new schemes. How many types of FMEs get registered with IFSCA? Yes, PDF will be provided. Okay. Akash says 3. What about others? Yes, 3 is the correct answer. Let's move on to the next question. And this report, as I've already told you, is very much important. Please do this. Every year the question comes directly, especially the previous month where the exam is actually being done. So as per State of Economy report September, the equity foreign direct investment into India declined sharply to what amount in this quarter? From 22.04 billion. And this is about equity FDI. RD says 13.9. Sai also says 13.9. What about others? Are you skipping this? Akash only remember 0.9. I have given every option with 0.9. Yes, 13.9 is the correct answer. Very good. Okay. So now apart from 0.9, also remember 3.9. Okay. Next is, which among the following countries is not the topmost source of FDI in India? And topmost, when I'm saying, I'm asking about top 5. So which among the following countries are not among the top 5 source? Sai says D, Soumya says UK, Naveen also says UK, RD says Mauritius. अरे Mauritius से तो सबसे ज़्यादा पैसा आता है. Mauritius is the topmost. Gautam says D, Netherlands. Okay. Yes. So the correct answer is UK. Okay. Apart from UK, all these are amongst the top 5 source of FDI. And apart from this, and Japan is also there. Okay. No issues. Anyways, we are just trying to learn as much as possible from these sessions. Okay. First one is, we'll see the solution also. 27. Singapore, Japan, these are amongst the top sources. I guess solution topmost is not mentioned in the document. Topmost. I guess it might be either Singapore or Mauritius. So if you see in the previous year, there's a news latest. There's a news about news by RBI with respect to financial year 23 data. USA has been the topmost FDI source, and this is with respect to previous financial year. Okay. Yes, USA is top with respect to previous financial year. That means 22-23. Again, learn everything specifically. So in the previous financial year, USA emerged as the leading source of FDI, and this we are talking about the Q1 of FY24. The detail is not there, but at least you remember the previous year leading source. Okay, you can again also cross check this, but what I found in the news is the USA about previous financial year. Next question. As per the state of the economy report, now we are talking about net FDI, inflows minus outflows. It declined from 17.28 in April, July to what? In April 23. Tell me. Soumya says 5.7. Akash also says 5.7. Naveen skipping, RD skipping. Yes, all of you who have marked 5.7 is correct. Okay, 5.7 is the correct answer. So we'll see some solutions also. So 5.7 is only there. Okay. Again also with respect to state of economy report, even sir will actually give you a particular document just before the examination that you can go through so that it becomes easy for you. Next is a surety bond, is a contract to perform promise or discharge liability of a third person in case of their default. So when was the first ever surety bond insurance for infrastructure was launched in India? Anyone? Yes, very remarkable decrease. As you all know how the world is actually going, and in the coming years it will also see a decline because a lot of conflict is going on in the world. Akash says 22, Naveen says 21. Yes, Akash is correct. 22 is the correct answer. Yes, rightfully said. So whenever a person is giving answer by actually giving other details about that answer, most probably is correct. So you can take a cue from there. Okay. Next is, according to RBI, a willful defaulter. Now we are talking about a definition of willful default. So it's a borrower or guarantor who has defaulted without being constrained to do, and the outstanding amount is what? That means what's the threshold amount? Yes. RD says 50, Naveen says 50. Akash skipping, Soumya also skipping. So all the 50 is not the correct answer. Correct answer is half of that, 25 lakhs. Okay. So that's why the recent circular might be talking it about. So remember this, 25 lakh. Above 25 lakh is there is any amount, and it has been not being provided by a person, then it is known as willful defaulter. Next is RBI said lenders would have to examine all aspects related to willful default on accounts with outstanding dues of 25 lakh, that we've already discussed, and identify willful defaulters within how many months of a loan becoming an NPA. So once a loan worth more than 25 lakh becomes an NPA, okay, then after how many months they have to identify the willful defaulter. So all of you are actually trying to do what? Guessing, I guess. Because the correct answer is 6 months. Okay. So let's see the solution also. This is 31. So as you can see, within 6 months of a loan becoming an NPA. Let's move on to the next question. In an aim to deepen corporate bond market, SEBI mandates large borrowers to secure what percentage of their incremental borrowing through debentures within a 2-year period. So this circular, I guess we've already discussed. What do you think is the correct answer? Yes, Akash, 6 months worth. SEBI actually mandated every corporate company or corporate group, and what conditions with respect to those corporate group might be different, but all those corporate groups must be actually raising money, not only just from equity but also from corporate bond market, and what percentage was particularly mandated for that. Sai says 20, Manushri 25, cannot recall, 10%. So Manushri is correct, 25 is the correct answer. Okay, so 25% of the money is being mandated by SEBI for all those corporate to raise money from bond market. Next, just like every person has a choice with respect to what SIM card it can, which company's SIM card it can choose, and even also what payment facility it can use, RBI also says that choice related to what payment network a person can have a card upon, that should also be left with the customers. Okay, so this is the circular which RBI recently launched, where it mandated the banks to provide choice to the customers regarding which payment card network they will utilize, and this circular shall be applicable from, Naveen says 1st October. Manushri also says 1st October. No, Manushri says September 1st. Okay. RD says 1st October. What about others? Skipping. October 1st. Okay. So all of those who are saying October 1st are correct. This is the correct answer. Okay, so from 1st October, this will come into effect. Recently, NABARD actually raised almost 1,000 crores through India's first social impact bond. And this is the coupon rate, 7.63%. What is the maturity of this bond? RD says 10 years. What about others? Akash says C. All of you should try this. Soumya says 10 years. Sai says C. Arey, everybody is, why 10 years? Does everyone know this is 10 years? Or all of you are just guessing this? Anybody wants to change their answers? Answer is 5 years. This bond matures in 5 years. Okay. But I was actually amazed that everybody was saying 10 years. 10 ka aadha. Yes, 10 ka. Let's go to the next question. India's first ever social impact bond issued by NABARD, that means obviously the same bond we are talking about, has been rated by agencies such as CRISIL and ICRA. What's the rating? Why are you skipping? You know, a bond with which have a backing of institutions such as NABARD must be, you know, top rated. Okay, so all of you who are saying AAA is the correct. Okay, these questions you shouldn't skip, because if I'm again saying, if any bond that is actually backed by government or, you know, anyways become gilt edge security, and if you're looking only in the domestic market, then obviously such type of security are the highest edged, and you know, such bonds that are actually, you know, being initiated by the government, obviously they'll also ask various credit rating agencies to push or, you know, increase their credibility. Otherwise, anyways, these are social impact bonds. Who will actually buy them? Okay, so to increase credibility, we also need ratings provided by these agencies. Okay, so think in terms of that whenever you do such type of questions. Next is, in the recent RBI circular on data quality index, credit information companies are mandated to compute data quality index for how many segments? Chalo, I'll give you a hint. Recently, the circular actually, you know, provided two additional segments in which these agencies have to compute DQI and provide to credit institutions. Now tell me, and when I'm saying two additional, at least these two options you can eliminate. Now tell me the correct answer. Just at least try to guess. Someone say 3, someone say 4, someone say 5. Karthik says 3, Vandana says 4. So yes, 3 is the correct answer. Okay. And 3 segments, I'll tell you what these segments are. Let's look at the solution. What was the question number? 36. So these 3 are the segments. Remember the name of these segments also: consumer segment, commercial segment, as well as microfinance segment. Into these 3 segments, the data will be collated by credit information companies, and they will formulate DQI and provide this DQI to credit institutions. Let's move on to the next question, which is based on the same circular, that CICs shall provide the DQIs for commercial and microfinance. These were the 2 additional that were based on the latest circular. Okay, these 2 segments to all credit institutions, latest by what date? Karthik says A. Sai also says December 1st. No, Sai says December 1st. C. December 31. Okay. What about others? Are you skipping this question? Okay. Karthik was on point. The correct answer is March 31st. Karthik, was this just a guess or did you know this? Next question is the same circular, okay, and they are talking about computing, data quality index computed by CICs shall be computed on what basis? Monthly, quarterly, bi-weekly, half-yearly. They have to compute it and they have to give to the credit institutions this data quality index at what interval? Banu Shri saying C, okay. Vandana says B. What about others? Akash is skipping. Soumya is skipping. And D, okay. Vandana is correct. B is the correct answer. On the monthly basis, they'll have to formulate the DQI index. Next is a circular on gold loans issued by primary urban cooperative banks. Urban cooperative banks, as you all know, is important. Any circular related to these are also important. So in this circular, RBI has decided to increase the monetary ceiling of gold loans that can be granted from 2 lakhs to how much lakh? Array, very good. Everybody knows. D is the correct answer. 2 lakhs to 4 lakhs. Now tell me, what type of loan repayment method is being done on the same loans, gold loans? Sai says E. What about others? What type of loan repayment method is being utilized under this gold loan scheme? Naveen is skipping. Variable payment, Akash says. Are you asking me? If you're asking me, then no, it's not the correct answer. So you can eliminate this. Chalo. Now tell me. RD says D. Banu says C. Correct answer is bullet repayment. Even the circular name is, if you go to the circular, gold loan under bullet repayment scheme UCBs. This is the name of circular. So you'll be asking, what do we mean by bullet repayment scheme? Okay, so in normal course of action, when you take loan, what happens? You have to monthly pay amount and continuously pay monthly payments, and in the end your loan get repaid. But in bullet payment, what happens is, and especially if we talk about RBI's this circular, the interest plus the principal amount that you have taken in the form of loan, that will be repaid at the end. That means at the maturity date. Okay. So at the end, if you have just, let's say, suppose take a loan with tenure of 2 years. Okay, so today is what? Today is 12 October 23. So 12 October 2-year loan, 12 October 25, you will go to the bank and you will give the principal as well as interest on that particular same day. Okay, so this is bullet payment. Okay, and in the RBI's this scheme also same thing happens. That means even interest as well as principal all clubbed, you have to repay at the end of the maturity period. Okay, clear? And you know why I'm explaining on the basis of only RBI's thing is because in bullet repayment method also there is also one kind of different method where interest are paid monthly but principal is paid at maturity. So we don't have to learn about that, we just focus on what's the RBI circular tells us, where interest as well as principal is being paid at the end of loan. Okay. So now tell me what's the maximum tenure of the loan mandated by RBI. And why I'm asking this question, because as you all know, when you are being asked about repayment or bullet repayment method, you know, chances of default risk is very high because not everybody can repay that whole loan amount at the same particular time. Naveen says 12. What about others? Try to attempt it. RD says 24. Okay, 24 just because I said this. Vandana says D. Why will I deliberately give the answer by giving examples? So Banu says, Banu, 24 is not the correct answer. Don't go by my example. Naveen's answer is correct. 12 months is the correct answer. Okay, that means 1 year. Next is as per RBI circular on responsible lending conduct, and this is with respect to same thing. So as we see that, you know, if the delay happens, 5,000 rupees per day is the payment charge. But what do you think is the, within how many days after full repayment of loan the bank shall release? Akash says 45 days. What about others? This is that same circular where we've discussed 5,000 rupees penalty. So everyone must do this. What about others? Are you skipping this question or doing what? So the correct answer for this is 30 days, not 45 days. Only after 30 days the penalty occurs. I guess I've utilized this same question. Forget it. Next is, recently RBI has increased the value of upper limit of an offline payment small value digital transaction from UPI Lite, and this transaction limit has been increased from 200 to So with respect to circulars, now I've already included even the September's third part circular within this only. Okay, so you don't need to be worried about it. So everybody knows this answer. Yes, 500 is the correct answer. So some of the people also have given the next question answer also. So what's this overall ceiling per payment instrument? Yes, 2000 is the correct answer. Good. Now let's do some important MCQs, although a little bit older but still relevant. As per RBI's master circular on housing finance for UCBs, urban cooperative banks. So housing loans may be repayable within a maximum period of what, including moratorium of repayment holiday? Science says 30 years. Naveen says 15. What about others? But 10 or whatever circular has been arrived till today have been included here. Okay, and normally ESI finance class will continue, that I take part wise, where we will deal with all circulars, but all the circular news relevant for RBI or relevant for NABARD examination have been included here. Okay, Vandana says 20. Okay, what about others? Others skipping this question? Okay, so correct answer is 20 years only. Very good. Next is as per RBI circular on capital adequacy norms of primary urban cooperative banks. So here, just read this question carefully. Some amount of borrowings from UCBs if the borrowings are unsecured, or some amount of borrowings from UCB in case of secured borrowings. They shall be linked to shareholdings of the borrowing members. What is this circular all about? What percentage of unsecured borrowing as well as what percentage of secured borrowing shall be linked to shareholdings of the So I says B, 4 or 2. What about others? The correct answer is A, 5 or 2.5. So 5% if the borrowing is unsecured and 2.5% if the borrowing is secured shall be linked to shareholdings of the borrowing members if it crosses this. Next is UCBs which currently do not meet the minimum net worth requirement. And when I'm talking about this, I'm obviously talking about the 4-tier regulatory structure that RBI has recently launched with respect to UCBs. Okay, so RBI is saying such UCBs shall at least achieve 50% of the applicable minimum net worth before March 31 and entire before what time? I hope everybody remembers 4-tier structure. What's the threshold for this? Apart from the question, also give the answer for this. For each and every UCB, what's the threshold? Naveen says 28. Okay. Akash also says 28. Akash, 28 what? Is this March 1 or June 30th? Yes, the correct answer is B, March 31, 28. Yes, RD is correct. So, this is the regulatory structure up to 100 crores, between 100 to 1000, 1000 to 10,000 and the above 10,000 crores. So these are the 4 tiers. Okay. Next is as per Master Circular on National Rural Livelihood Mission. Okay, so in this mission, as you all know, loans are being provided to self-help groups, but this circular is talking about what's the maximum loan a credit institution can provide to individual SHG member. Okay, what's the maximum amount of loan that they can give? So I say 6 lakhs. What about others? RD says 10 lakhs. Yes. Naveen skipping. RD is correct. Correct answer is 10 lakhs. Okay. And they're only giving this to such well performing self-help groups that are more than 2 years old. So remember these aspects also. Now the last question. RBI released a branch authorization policy for urban cooperative banks. Under this, UCBs are permitted to open new branches up to what percentage of number of full-fledged branches? Yes, all of you are correct. 10% is the correct answer. Very good. Yes. So this is all for today. Your RBI circulars, SEBI circulars as well as IRDA circulars are all done from the perspective of NABARD. You know, mostly whatever everything that are important I've covered in this these MCQs. Okay. If you have any doubt you can ask, otherwise we'll end this session. Yeah, we will provide this PDF, don't worry. Okay, and we will provide the original PDF, this one, which has solutions also. Okay. Because of various issues now, so even if you look into the functioning of UCBs, there are various issues starting from corruption to regulatory issues. You should attempt at this point of time MCQs only, because MCQs covered everything. Okay, and you know, when any particular coaching institution makes MCQs, they try to maximize the range in which question can be asked. Okay, so you can try to do MCQs at this particular point of time. So GA revision we've already taken. So if you can look onto the channel, we've already covered ARD current affairs, and in which apart from ARD, other things also we've taken upon that are relevant for NABARD. Anything else? marks. Worried about getting 40 marks only in career. You know, at this point of time, as I've already told you, even Ashok sir have already told you that, you know, that most of the things that he has also talked about in the Telegram channel also, that these things are important. You cover those things and be rest assured that your exams cutoff will be cleared. And I'm telling you honestly, cover the important aspects that have been told to you regarding those important things just before the exam. Try to do this, and don't worry about the marks. Okay, because in the exam obviously you have ample amount of time, and you can actually, you know, there will be a lot of questions that can compensate. You just have to clear the sectional cutoff, which is anyways are very low. Okay, and overall it will be cleared. So it will be provided today. I'll ask my colleagues to upload this. Right now, Karthik, both are good. Okay, don't just focus on one particular thing. MCQ and revision both are important. Do both things. Revise MCQs, revise content, and you will see benefits. How much time to allot to every section? You know, it depends on, because sections such as ARD, and because it is a composite time exam, okay, so you'll be getting a lot of time. If you're good in particular section, then you will be left with a lot of time with others also. So ARD, ESI as well as GA, it will not take your time, because these things are either you know, either you don't know. Okay, so focus on, and again I'm saying, focus on clearing individual cutoffs. It shouldn't be like that, you know, you just focus on your ARD aspect or the merit section only, because other sections you have to qualify the basic cutoff also. Okay, so just give one or two mocks so that you understand that where you are lagging in terms of time management. So mocks are, you know, mocks are very much important, especially for time management aspect. Okay, content wise, anyways you have a lot of content, but from time perspective, mocks are very much important. Okay, does this solve your query or any other thing? Chalo, thank you everyone for joining. Okay, and I wish you all the best. Do well in the examination. I hope all of you clear. Okay, thank you.